AA became another side to my personality. I became someone else. I never knew who I was going to be. My first sponsor assigned herself to me. Her name was Millie. She is one you love and hate at the same time. They said she was an old timer and she worked really well with newcomers. We clashed from the very beginning. She would always say,
"You're a little Millie Lee. You are just like me."
And then she would laugh. She introduced me to Derek. When I met him, Corey was still in a carrier, and Ryan and Garrett were 5 and 6. It was at a AA fashion show to raise money for a function. I was new and had got talked into being one of the models for the outfits. Derek was my escort along the supposed runway. The first time he came to my rescue was my very first sober dance. I was standing in a corner watching to see who had the alcohol because I did not believe that they were actually sober. A guy came over and started talking to me, and he was drunk. He had got me cornered by the coffee and the cake area. And then there was Derek, basically saving this drunk dude because I was getting ready to grab the knife I saw if he got any closer. It took several of them to convince me that this was not a normal thing. I am still working at Kaiser, and I just started working later and later. I kept in contact with Derek from AA. I started going back to the meetings on a regular basis, and with the help of members there, I eventually got the courage to divorce Garrick in 1993. I only left with Ryan and Corey because he would not let me take Garrett. I got a nice-sized apartment off of Los Robles, and Ryan and Corey have their own room. We became friends, and eventually he 13th stepped me, as they called it, which is when a more experienced member of a 12-step group gets into a relationship with a new group member. It may not have been right, but it kept me sober at that time. I went to every meeting he went to. He took me to the different functions. I learned how to play bid whiz and spades. I already knew how to play dominoes and backgammon, so it was easy to participate because he always needed a partner. I could parrot all the sayings, readings, and phrases. I could quote by heart the meeting formats from start to finish. We became that boy meets girl on AA campus. We were always together. We had a lot of fun together. It was Derek that started showing me how a man was supposed to treat a woman and basically pulled me away from Garrick's grip of fear. He spoiled me. He opened doors. He pulled out chairs, bought gifts, and just did all the right things. My first Christmas on my own, he bought me a small Christmas tree and left it at my door as a surprise. The problem is that we both are non-committal. He claims he is waiting for me to get more sobriety. While I know I was not putting myself into another situation because Garrick was nice in the beginning also. I was not that trusting yet. My best friend at the time was Joel. He had trouble staying sober and had just come from another sober living program. So we started hanging out. We also noticed that the people we were each seeing started having a problem with it. Derek didn't care for Joel, and Valencia didn't care for me. I made many acquaintances, made lots of friends. The very first friend who I will always remember is Robin. She had 18 months clean when I met her. She was the second person I knew that had actually did crack cocaine. The first one was Bunny. She had been my best friend of our married group. There were 8 of us. Our common threads were our husbands had been best friends growing up. Bryant and Dion at the time were not married, while Monroe was married to Bunny. Almost every weekend and every other one, we got together and did something. One of those weekends, I had just bought an adult drinking game, and when we were trying to decide what to do, I suggested we play pass out. I do not remember whose house we went to. I just know it was in Los Angeles. We had a big bottle of every kind of alcohol. I remember the game starting, and then the next afternoon when a couple of our group lost their jobs because they didn't get to work. What was really amazing was the following weekend when we were trying to decide what to do, and I suggested pass out. We all went and did it again. Somehow, Monroe ended up using crack and got Bunny on it also. Not long after, Monroe was killed one night. And I watched her go from 160 pounds to 98 as she smoked herself to death. So when I met Robin and she had stopped using, she was able to explain to me what had happened to my friend Bunny. About a year later, Robin had decided to get the lap band surgery. It was still kind of new then, but she was over 300 pounds, and she was afraid she would die if she didn't lose the weight. Unfortunately, she developed an infection around her staples, and she ended up dying anyway. I have met Robin and several others like her through Derek. He introduced me to a lot of old timers, and they are who I hang around. I went into a deeper depression. I ended up at a sober living in Los Angeles that was supposed to take mothers with children. But once I got there, things did not turn out as it had seemed.